up, YouTube? What's going on, baby? I'm back, your host Taz B, here at Smack Nation, where we always question the unknown. Hey, what's up, chat? Hope you guys are doing good. Hope you guys are blessed. Hey, man, we got an interesting topic today, guys. Interesting viewing. We're going to go over Jason Voorhees' anatomy. Yeah, the famous Jason Voorhees. And he was a menace in the movies, chat. If everybody know old school horror, this guy right here, he was illmatic. Illmatic. I'm using an old East Coast sound. Illmatic, chat. But we're gonna take a look at some of the lore and body composition of what makes this psychopath, crazy maniac who he is. Jason Voorhees, the Friday the 13th monster. All right, chat, let's check it out.
One of the greatest slasher movies of all time, and Jason Voorhees' iconic character only adds to the movie's popularity. While Jason is famously known for his signature hockey mask, he has various other physiological features that make him stand out among other slasher villains. After drowning in Crystal Lake and re-emerging as this horrific entity, Jason has notably been a part of numerous films in the franchise, and his character has also undergone quite some changes over time. Today we will explore all the insane physiological details of this psycho killer and tell you everything about his anatomy. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. What does his face look like underneath the mask? While Jason Voorhees is known for the hockey mask on his face, fans of the franchise will remember the actual face that he hides underneath the mask. While the movies save his unmasking until the climax scene, Jason's unmasked face has never been the same across the franchise. In the Friday the 13th Part 2, Jason had long hair and a beard underneath the mask, which was not one of his most famous looks, but it still managed to scare the audience. In the third part, Jason had quite an iconic face reveal, where he was portrayed as a tall, bald, and muscular person with a deformed eye. He also had a creepy grin, which was much more unsettling than his hockey mask. The final chapter movie was released in 1984, showing Jason with an even enhanced look, where Ted White portrayed him. Special effects artist Tom Savini worked hard on Jason's look in this film, especially the part where Jason gets attacked by a machete on his head and then appears with a deformed, bloody face. The fifth part of the franchise showed a different version of this character, wherein a paramedic named Roy Burns would wear a prosthetic to make him appear as Jason. After this look disappointed the fans, the next part marked Jason's return with a bang, where he was revealed with a decayed, undead look that made him appear as a zombie. The seventh part of the franchise even solidified Jason's zombie look, where he appeared in an even more horrifying and disturbing form. He had a deformed face with rotting teeth and damaged features, and Jason was in his most undead form. The next part showed Jason's face with some slimy features, wherein his skin seemed to be melting away. There was also a reboot film that was released in 2009, which paid homage to Jason's human form, in which he initially wears a sack mask instead of a hockey mask.
Chat, these movies were classic. Do you hear me? Like they were box office classics. Jason stormed the world with his unique look, outfit, and that machete. He always finds something, like in the beginning ones, he always finds some type of knife or something. Preferably he wants that nice big butcher knife. But his machete, man, that thing went to episodes or if he lost that one, he found the new one. You know, as far as the looks, I never really tuned in on all the looks, chat. I would just wanted to see that classic hockey mask. That was it. And I don't even know if any teams really wear hockey masks that have that logo or design. If you guys know that, spam it up down in the chat below. Let me know. I don't know. But yeah, Jason Voorhees was illmatic.
The secret behind his damaged eye sockets. In the fourth part of this franchise, Friday the 13th, the final chapter, Jason was stabbed in his eyes with a machete, which caused permanent damage to his left eyeball. The directors of the future movies had kept this detail in mind, which is why Jason was often seen with a damaged eye socket. In Jason Goes to Hell, the directors made a tiny mistake wherein they showed his right eye to be damaged instead of the left. However, this mistake was soon corrected, and the next release showed Jason's left eye is damaged once again. Why does Jason wear a mask? Jason's hockey mask has been one of his defining characteristics. Fans have often wondered why he has such a unique mask. It has been a tradition among slasher villains to wear a mask, especially in the 1970s and 80s, and Jason Voorhees was among these villains who formed an everlasting identity with their masked looks. After young Jason had seemingly drowned to his death, Jason wore his mask to hide his deformed face, as he used to even before his apparent death. He had hydrocephalus and various mental disabilities, and he preferred to keep his face hidden to prevent people from looking at him and to deal with his insecurities. After his alleged death, Jason returned to the world as a so-called undead being, and he initially used to wear a burlap bag over his face. In the third film, Jason finally got his hands on the hockey mask that stayed with him for ages. While one would think there must have been a specific reason for this particular mask, it was just a coincidence. The crew was testing the lighting, but they did not want to apply makeup just for some tests. The 3D effects supervisor happened to have some hockey gear on set, and he proposed that Jason's character should wear this mask for the time being.
Now, see that, chat? It's good to know behind the camera how they make these decisions. How did the mask come? It just seemed like it was just available, which is crazy, because now that's just become the iconic look of Jason Voorhees. And chat, I do remember, I think I saw all of the Friday the 13th, and he's right. That first one, I do remember him wearing that sack. But then the iconic look was definitely the hockey mask, 100%. You guys remember? Anybody has ever seen the Friday the 13th? Let me know. Let's have a conversation.
The mask enhanced Jason's look and gave his character an eerie vibe, and they decided to mold a new hockey mask and add some red triangles to enhance its appearance. Can Jason change bodies? While Jason already has a bunch of cool superpowers and abilities, his ability to switch bodies and transfer his soul into another being's body is definitely one of his coolest abilities. This was especially seen in Jason Goes to Hell. The final Friday revealed that evil resides in Jason's heart, and that he could use it to possess others. When a coroner eats Jason's heart in this movie, Jason's soul is transferred within his body and causes him to turn evil. This scene caused quite a stir, and even the actor who played the coroner nearly threw up while eating this artificial heart made of gummies.
Chat, this is stuff I didn't even know, chat. Does anyone remember this? I need to go back and watch the series of Friday the 13th. I don't remember him changing bodies. That's not a... Well, he's like a superhero now? This is crazy. Or a supervillain? He can change through bodies? I don't remember that, chat. And that scene they showed, I remember that guy was eating Jason's heart, his ticker, and then he became the new Jason. So then how did he ate it and then the uniform changed? Oh no, I have to go back, chat.
Can Jason Voorhees reproduce? What will happen if he raises a child? Jason clearly had some intimacy issues, and he often targeted teenagers or young people who sought intimate relations to be his victims. Jason's death as a kid had resulted due to the camp counselor's negligence toward him, as they were busy getting intimate while he drowned to his death. After being resurrected, Jason developed a hatred towards sexual relations and even took it upon himself to punish teenagers who engaged in such activities. Given the fact that Jason hates physical intimacy, it is quite unlikely that he would engage in such relations and reproduce. It should be noted that Jason is undead, and there is also a possibility that he can never reproduce or have kids even if he ever changes his mind. Also, his death. After being resurrected, Jason developed a hatred towards sexual relations and even took it upon himself to punish teenagers who engaged in such activities. Given the fact that Jason hates physical intimacy, it is quite unlikely that he would engage in such relations and reproduce. It should be noted that Jason is undead, and there is also a possibility that he can never reproduce or have kids even if he ever changes his mind. Also, Jason does not seem mentally ready to raise and care for a child. However, if he somehow adopted a child or took a kid under his wing, he would still be unable to provide for them or feed them and take care of them. While Jason can kill pretty much anyone or anything, the child would still have to grow up on his own, and there's also a huge chance that the child might grow up without a sense of right or wrong. This would increase the child's chances of becoming a sociopath after living under Jason's influence. Despite Jason's issues with intimacy, the Crystal Lake Memories book and the third part of this franchise implied that Jason had forced himself upon Chris. However, there have been a lot lot of fan theories regarding this incident, wherein some fans believe that Jason never did such a thing and that all of this is purely fan theory. In contrast, others believe that he may have been forcing himself upon other victims as well. Another source suggests that the creators intended to show a scene where Jason forces himself upon Chris, but the actress who played Chris refused to act in such a scene and they decided to leave it ambiguous. However, the scene did imply that Chris felt violated, and her boyfriend later even stated that she wouldn't let anyone touch her anymore. While some fans still stand behind their ground and insist that Jason would not force himself upon a victim, others still argue that Jason is inherently an evil character and you can't put anything past him. In this movie, the creators wanted to show that Jason had forced himself upon Chris when they had an encounter earlier in the story. They wanted to show this scene right at the movie's end so that the audience would be pleased to see his demise after learning about his actions. However, they finally decided against it as it would get too dark and only stuck to an ambiguous scene that gave Jason some benefit of the doubt.
I also feel like, Chad, that wouldn't make much sense. I like the story where they said he was triggered by these type of things, and he seen that during these things, no one helped him when he was drowning, and he just kept that vendetta. I'm glad that they stuck with that script. The other one would just be a little bit too weird. But it went on to become one of the most top cult classic movies of all times. One of them.
Did you know that Jason suffers from a strange rare disease? Jason was born with a condition known as hydrocephalus, which is quite a rare disease that is seen in some humans. Hydrocephalus forms a large accumulation of fluids in the skull, putting pressure on it and shaping it into a disfigured structure. This condition also compresses a person's brain, leading to mental disabilities. Jason's childhood was primarily spent in isolation after his mother decided to keep him away from society and even not let him attend school. Jason had become very close to her after being with her all the time. This eventually caused him to act in antisocial ways and display violent tendencies. Jason kept his face covered for almost his entire life to prevent others from noticing his condition. He is surprisingly intelligent for an undead demon. While Jason has some flaws, he is surprisingly quite intelligent even in the form of an undead demon. He exhibits intelligence and high-functioning abilities while going after his victims, and even lays well-thought traps to capture his victims. He even has a good sense of direction and strategic planning despite all his physical deformities, and he can even carefully restrain his victims to avoid detection. He can also navigate places quite well and always finds his way back to Crystal Lake, irrespective of how far he strayed to attack his victims. He also attacked his victims in unique ways and was always creative with his murders. Jason never targeted two people the same way, and he was quite gifted in executing these murders and even arranging the dead bodies as blockades. He was also quite stealthy and would have no trouble escaping a scene or making his presence go unnoticed before finally cornering his victims and taking them by surprise.
Give me the police.
How incredibly powerful is Jason? After turning into an undead being, or a zombie, if you will, Jason gained supernatural strength and his physical abilities were greatly enhanced. He immediately displayed his newly gained abilities by punching a person's body and gouging his heart out from his chest cavity with just one single punch, and he was strong enough to even punch through concrete or metal. Jason could decapitate someone with just a single punch and even break people's limbs or whole bodies by ripping them in two with his bare hands. Jason had once even tossed a man with one single blow and even detached his arms with his body, and had once even smashed a girl's face into the metal with just one hand. He committed some very gruesome acts with the help of his physical abilities, and he once even twisted a girl's head and even killed 3 people in one go by slashing a machete through all their bodies at once. He was also resistant to pain and could withstand fatal wounds without dying or even feeling pain after turning into his zombie form. Jason was essentially immortal and did not get any physical ailments or even age like regular humans. He had supernatural durability, and he could endure any attack that was directed at him. Even when he died after being attacked, Jason could always regenerate any injured body parts and restore himself.
Better get a move on.
Y'all hear this, chat? I didn't know all these abilities, X-Men abilities that Jason got. He can grow back body parts. I guess he can. I mean, I never really seen any body parts chopped off of him other than him getting the machete in the head and that kind of stuff. But I don't know, chat. Then it made this dude to be like Super Saiyan or something.
Jason has steadily been growing taller with time. Jason's towering presence is one of his scariest features, and it seems that Jason's character has also been increasingly getting taller with time. When Warrington Gillette portrayed Jason in Friday the 13th Part 2, the character was as tall as 6 feet 1 inch. Later, Richard Booker portrayed this character in the third part, and he was even taller with a height of 6 foot 3. Later, Jason's height kept upgrading throughout the franchise, as Kane Hodder played this role in the 7th part of the franchise and was 6 foot 3.5 inches tall. Derek Mears was the person who portrayed this character in 2019, and he was as tall as 6 foot 5. Can Jason swim after being killed by drowning? After Jason allegedly drowned to his death at Crystal Lake by a bunch of bullies, he somehow gained the ability to swim after returning as the notorious masked killer. While he could not swim before that, Jason could swim at a supernatural speed and even gained the ability to walk through water later. While Jason could swim in the water, his death caused him to develop an irrational fear of water, and he was once even defeated when Tommy chained him to the bottom of Crystal Lake. Jason has god-level immunity. Jason is essentially immune to any and all forms of human ailments and poison, and bacteria, viruses, or any diseases cannot harm him. There is just one exception to these, which is that he can be sedated and put to sleep. This was seen in the Freddy vs. Jason movie, wherein Freddy possessed Jason and injected him with 2 syringes of sedatives. Besides this, Jason essentially has godlike immunity, and common bacteria or viruses cannot harm him. Is Jason immortal? How can he be defeated? Even though Jason had already died early in the franchise, he returned as an immortal undead being who can never be truly killed. He will remain a young and strong man, unaffected by aging or physical ailments, and he is essentially invincible. Jason can be attacked by his opponents by using weapons such as guns or knives, but he has extraordinary regenerative abilities and can always recover from any wounds. He does have a zombie-like appearance and some exposed bones that seem to be deteriorating. While this indicates that Jason's regenerative abilities are not perfect, it is not guarantee that he will die of deterioration someday, since he can always heal any major damage to his tissues at an accelerated rate. Jason is unlike most demonic undead entities and has been killed and revived multiple times throughout the franchise. His demonic soul can also pass from person to person through a grotesque figure known as a Hell Baby that could take over his victim's body and destroy them. To stay immortal, Jason continues to possess people from his bloodline, and it was even revealed that his mother had made a deal with the devil to revive her son after he had first died. This was a crossover between Friday the 13th and the Evil Dead franchise, wherein evil demons communicate with the living with the help of the Necronomicon book. Jason's mother used the same book to bring him to life, which only solidifies the theory that he will remain immortal. Nevertheless,
I don't know, Chad. That kind of make kind of dope sense, you know, if the mom, because the mom she was crazy. She was crazy because she had everybody fooled on the first Friday the 13th. That's also a trivia question. Who was the killer in Friday the 13th? 1. It was Mom Dukes. She was crazy. So yeah, it's crazy because they did show when Jason was a little baby in the first movie, and all of a sudden he's growing into this giant. This is crazy, chat. Crazy.
Thus, Jason is killed on multiple occasions in the movie's climaxes. Once, Tommy Jarvis attacked Jason with a machete numerous times, and he even once chained Jason to the bottom of a lake to kill him. He was once blown up and sent to hell by magic, but Jason has always returned to life after regenerating himself. While Jason can be temporarily defeated, he can never be truly eradicated, and he will continue to find ways to come back. Conclusion. To sum it up, Jason Voorhees played a considerable role in the success of the Friday the 13th franchise, and he is undoubtedly a fascinating character. He also has many extraordinary physiological features and remains one of the most iconic slasher villains of all time. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks, everyone.
Well, chat, you know, I hope you like that lore of getting into our old classic, old school horror movies, man. This was one of the bangers I grew up in. I saw the first movie in the movie theater itself, which was just great. It was great to see. And it's great to get some insight that, hey, you know, Jason is a mutant. He got all of these abilities and can do all these things. I never thought about it before like that, chat. Never thought about that before. But when I seen all the different episodes and him coming back, I was like, how is this guy still alive? I mean, he went through fire, through all kinds of stuff, butchered, chopped. I mean, explosives, all kinds of stuff, chat. So yeah, I think a good comparison too would be to see how Jason will go against um what's his name, the Halloween character, um Michael Michael Myers. That will be that would be a dope comparison, right, chat? Might have an idea for that, chat. Let me put something together. But I think that Jason and Michael Myers would be a great comparison. What you guys think? Holla at your boy. Once again, I hope you like this special episode of Smack Nation, where we always question the unknown. And shout out to Jason Voorhees, true legend. And talk to you soon, chat. Until then, night, night.